So today, right, we are going to start off with a subtopic. Integration. So what is this integration about? Yeah. So integration, right? It is calculating quantities which change. Or non-uniform. If you remember at the beginning of the calculus, when I gave you the introduction, we are talking about, what if the force is changing? How will you calculate work done? What if the density is changing? How will you calculate the mass? So that quantities which we're seeing here. So let me give a simple example. Let's say you have a rectangle like this. This is x1, this is x2, and this is some y. Now, if I ask you area of this rectangle, you will say what? Say base into height or height into base. So here the height is y0, and the base is x2 minus x1. This can be written as y0 into delta x. Simply it is length into breadth, no, or height into width, whatever it is. This is the area of the rectangle, right? So there is no issue as such. But the problem comes, what if I take something like this? Now, if I ask you find the area of this guy, let's say this is x1, this is x2, and if I try to apply the same formula, height into base. Base though I know, x2 minus x1, but what will I take height? I'm not sure what it is. Because at every point the height is changing now. Should I take the initial height or the final height or what? So that is where our calculus comes into picture. Right. So that's what we are going to see in the integration, like how does that work? How we are going to use this calculus to find out the area under that random curve. So put on the first page, on the page, write it down. So the main idea of this entire calculus stuff is this only. For it is a rectangle, you could find out into height into base, but when I give you a curve, you're not sure what it is because height I'm not sure. Height is changing at every point. Done? Next thing. Keep your cameras on or else you'll be removed from the group. So we got the curve part. Great. So I have an idea for this thing. What I would suggest, let's see how this curve now. What if I take a thin slice like this? So what I will say, I'll take the small area delta A, which is the height y and delta x. So what I'm trying to do is find the area of this piece. But the only issue is when I do this thing, the one in the blue part, this becomes the error, isn't it? Because this is y, this is delta x. You're treating this like a rectangle, but the problem is it's not a rectangle. So because of this thing, that small piece on the top, right, the curvy part will become an error. So when you find the total area, so when you want to find the total area, what you're doing, you're going to add up all these areas, delta A1, delta A2, delta A3, so on till delta An. Means you divide this entire guy into n pieces and you add them. So I can write this thing as sigma. Sigma is summation delta AI, which is sigma phi I delta xi, where this goes from x1 to xn. But the problem with this thing, there is an error. Okay, there is an error in this thing. Why is there an error? See what you did actually. When you did this thing, you know what you did? This is what you found actually. This is what you're doing. When you're making it to small rectangles, no, you're saying this curve is equal to that. You have treated the entire curve into small straight lines and you made it into small rectangles. No? So when you're actually finding area using this method, what you're getting is for the second part. It looks like steps up and steps down. So you made the curve into like small steps. So this thing will lead to some kind of an error because it's not perfect. So how to overcome this thing? So how do we go about this thing? Put it up, copy this thing. This is a very important chapter. We have almost like 25, 26 chapters in physics where this thing comes in at least 20 chapters. Literally every chapter the integration comes. Copy. Now you might be thinking, sir, like, do we really do something with this thing approximation? You might not realize, but actually this is what we, you're doing this every day. You just don't realize this thing. Let me tell you what happens actually. Hope all copied. I'll turn the page. Now, when you talk about, ever heard these words analog, digital and all. So when you actually talk about this thing, what you're actually listening are voltage signals. This is voltage versus time graph. So let's say there is a singer or someone, and this is the voice, meaning this is the different things. Now you need to understand. Let's say there is a person here who is, this is the mic. So this is an antenna. So this thing, what happens, right? We have a device here, the mic may, we have something called a piezoelectric material. Most of the time, this is a quartz crystal. This thing generates, voltage signals when you apply pressure. So when you're speaking, right, sound is nothing but, compressions and refractions. Remember, compression means high pressure, refraction means low pressure. So when these, waves are hitting the piezoelectric material, it generates electric signals. That electric signals are transmitted through this thing, and you have a receiver here, and these are again converted into a sound. Got it? So this is your input voice. This is called analog. Basically, all the signal is there. When you're speaking, it is basically an analog thing. Now what happens? You're trying to send this signal to another person and you want to hear this. Fine, no problems, great. But there is a catch. Now this machine, right, whatever is there, how many points are there on this curve? Anyone? How many points are there on that curve?
Infinity.
Infinity, na? So there are infinite points. Now, if you tell the computer, record the voice, what should happen? It should count infinite points, no? For infinite points, it will take how much space? Infinite space. Isn't it? Meaning just to record a minute of your voice, it might take infinite GB. Just think about it, how weird it looks. So there is a problem there. Now, if your computer is trying to record your voice, literally every sample, it will count infinite times, so it will get an infinite data. Your hard disk won't be sufficient. So in order to overcome this thing, we tell the computer, okay, yeah, don't count everything, but let's limit our counting to a certain limit. Next time when you go and listen to some music, right? Look at the end of the file. There'll be something written like this: 128 kbps, 320 kbps. The meaning of this thing is this is 1,28,000 samples per second. Meaning you're telling the computer every second take 1,28,000 points from the data. Same thing here also. You're saying take 3,20,000 from the data. If you see, if this file is 2 MB, you'll observe this file will be almost 4 MB. Because the more samples you take, more data you need. So you know what you're actually hearing? So when you try to plot this on a, the output, this is what you're seeing actually. This is a signal which you're seeing. This is a digital signal. So whenever you use the word digital, it means it is like this. What you're seeing is not a curve. So this thing looks like a curve. It is happening at so small. This is what you think. For example, see, if I tell the computer, count it as 1 bit per second, you know how it will sound? Meaning you're telling the computer every second, just take one sample and play it for 1 second. So if you're hearing my voice at a rate of 1 bit per second, you'll hear something like this. Meaning that entire 1 second, you're playing only that one sound. If you say 10 bits per second, you know what you'll hear? Like this, meaning you're hearing 10 different sounds in that 1 second. Now, maybe when you take something like 1,000 or 2,000 samples, you start hearing my voice. Because, human ears have a problem. We cannot differentiate anything less than 1/10 of a second. So your brain actually fills up the gap. So right now when I'm speaking, right, this is analog. What you're hearing is digital. So you're actually missing a lot of data in the middle, but your brain will cover up in the middle. Whatever is the gaps, the brain is filling it up for you guys. So you think what you're hearing is my voice, but actually my voice is coming something like this thing for you. It is like, so, when there are a lot of breaks in the middle, but this is happening at a very minute level, like 1 by 10 lakh or 1 by 1 crore of a second. You can't differentiate such a small time interval. So you think you're hearing my voice continuously. It's like the same thing. When you're seeing the screen, you're not seeing the screen continuously. Did you know that? You're actually blinking in the middle. It just happens so fast, you think you're seeing it continuously. In reality, for a split second, you're just closing your eyes. You're blind actually for a moment. So it's that way. So if you see, this is how the entire audio output and stuff works. So it is based on integration stuff only. And put it down, copy this down. But in case you're thinking it is only this thing, think about how humans work. Huh? If you look at your eardrum, how does the eardrum work? When there is a compression, eardrum will go inside, rarefaction eardrum will come outside. So your eardrum is vibrating. So when your eardrum vibrates, it generates voltage signals. So when you think you're actually listening to something, what do you mean by listening? It is simply some electromagnetic, some voltage signals in your brain. The voltage generated by your eardrum when it receives the brain has a, like, okay, this signal, this much voltage is this much frequency. This much voltage is this much intensity. So what you're perceiving is simply a load of electric signals in your brain. Same thing with your eye also. Your eyes have, these rods and cones. When the lights falls on them, they generate electric signals, voltages. So when these things reach the brain, your brain thinks you're seeing. So for a particular red color, there's a voltage signal. For a green color, there's a different voltage. So different voltages correspond to different colors. And that's what you think you're seeing something. Why all that? Remember, when you're sleeping in the night, when you're dreaming, you see colors in the dream, you hear sounds in the dream, but you're actually not seeing them, right? Your brain is simply, hitting that particular voltages and you think you're seeing and listening. When you're closing your eyes and imagining something, that's what you're doing. You're replicating the voltage signals in your brain and you think you're seeing something. Getting it? Meher, done copying? Getting it? So it goes that way. This logic is quite important because people are trying to develop something called an artificial eye. Now let's say, see, people are blind. Maybe they have a problem with the retina or something. You can't wait. Someone will die and donate their eyes. So what if you make an artificial eye? So these people were able to make an artificial eye, but right now it is only black and white. So not only this thing. Tomorrow, if you make a robot and you want it to see things, this is how it works. When a particular color wavelength light falls on the sensor, it will generate a particular signal. So you will say this signal is this color, and that's how you actually start seeing things. That's what your eye does. So the whole concept of this vision or sound, that is how it works. So there's a guy in Europe. This guy, right? He has a problem. The nerves of his ears, that hearing nerves, they got tangled up with the, the nerves of the eyes. Somehow it's this thing. He has a weird psychology. So this guy, what? He can see sound. When he's hearing sound, the voltage signals are received by the ICA part in the brain. And so that, it feels like he's seeing sound. Imagine like this thing. When you're speaking, he can see red color, green color, blue color coming out of your mouth. And that's how his vision is. He can see different, when sound is going, he can see sound. So now initially, right, this becomes a big thing. People go mad actually. Because what? Think of it like this thing now. When you're born, getting it, there is a ghost beside you. When you're born, there's a ghost beside you. Since you're a small child, you don't understand. You will think it is there. As you're growing up, the ghost is also growing up with you. The ghost or devil, whatever you want to call it. Or let's call it an angel. Let's not call it ghost. Might get scared. So there's an angel beside you. Getting it? Other than you, no one can see it. Other than you, no one can hear it. So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, now you start believing everyone will have an angel with them. You think it is common, everyone has an angel. So by the time you can start speaking, right, you'll tell, mama, mama, dekho yahan pe, kuch hai karke. Your mom will think that a kid is talking, it is fun karke, they might be okay with it. But once you reach your age, right, you'll start going mad. You'll talk to your friend, "Arey, tere angel tujhe kya bata rahe hai? What angel? What are you talking?" No, see now, on my shoulder, my angel is there now. You start thinking either the person is mad or weird. Now, if you think about that person who can see colors now, his entire life would have been a mess. He tells her, "I can see color." He says, "What are you talking? There's no color in front of you." So this guy, the story had a good ending actually. The guy became a musician, and this guy became a good composer actually, because he can see colors, he can see sound. He started composing music on that stuff with mixing different colors. This guy was he made a career in composing. Same way, there's a lady in Australia, right? Normally in human eyes there are rods and cones, but if you talk about animals like the snakes and stuff, they have a different set of things in their eyes also. These things can even see UV, ultraviolet rays. So this lady in Australia, right, has that kind of pigment in her eyes. So this lady can see a world in a different way than what we are seeing. So she became a painter so that she can represent the world she sees. So that is how it works. If it is India, so we will see isko booth chad gaya karke we start beating him right and left. So, but fine. Luckily, people were survived. So how to go about this thing then? How to get rid of this problem for us? So this is the idea we have. So you got a curve. Now see, if you take a very small thin slice, or if you take a little bigger one, or if you take a little bigger one, can you see something there? Which one has more error?
Last one.
The left one, right? Yeah, the right one has more error. So as delta x becomes smaller, error becomes smaller, no? So if delta x tends to 0, hope you remember this thing, then error will tend to 0. So the smaller the delta x, the smaller the error. So then we can say the area under the curve. So we can get rid of this error by making the slices as thin as possible. So we call it limit delta x tends to 0 sigma yi delta xi. So this thing becomes an integral y dx. I'll tell you what it means. This is upper limit. This is lower limit. What is the meaning of this snake kind of thing? The sigma is called summation. Here's the summation. You add up all stuff. Integral is also summation. There is no difference actually. The meaning is same, but summation over very small things. If you add very small quantities, we call it integral. So this symbol ka name is integral. When someone says integral y dx, understand you're doing summation of very small things. That is the meaning of integral. So instead of writing limit delta x tends to 0 sigma, such a big thing, we just put that one integral ka symbol. Convenience. Who will write every time that limit delta x tends to 0 and everything? Got it? So what is the meaning of lower limit and upper limit? Meaning lower and upper limit is you want area from where to where? You want area from x1 to x2. That is the meaning of this. So don't worry too much about this part. It's really not like, everyone will ask you what is the derivation of integration. I'm just teaching you all this so that you understand what is the meaning of integration. I could just dump the formula and say remember, but then throughout the 2 years, you'll always have weird feeling like, what is this thing? You should have an idea actually what you're doing. And not only this thing, tomorrow when you go ahead, and you do something, anything, engineering, medical, research or stuff, you should have a basic idea like what do you mean by integral? I'm not saying you should do a PhD in mathematics, but every person should have some basic idea like what you're talking about, a differential or an integral or stuff. Because tomorrow if you're doing going for MBA, when you're studying stock market, these things come, right? And it doesn't matter if you're going for a PhD research, so forget about it. Calculus so will come. If you're engineer, so there's no need to say. The world has changed a lot, right? 30 years back, right? If you're a doctor, you're just a doctor. Sit in the clinic, treat patients. Those days are gone. Don't see like, 1 or 2 years. By the time 20, 25 years down the line, we are not sure. The regular doctors who just give, this headache and no tablet will be replaced by some a machine at the counter. You just go there, put your hand there. It will take a small blood sample. It will do the testing. You will even know what is the disease. It will send the medicines outside done. The doctors will be useful only, for this high-end treatment or for operations. They might use doctors. Why will they do this thing? In order to improve the technology? Bullshit. It saves you money. Think about it. Fortis Hospital. They have to hire like 100 doctors. In the 10 doctors are, top specialists in neuro and that thing. We will keep them. In that there are 50 doctors who are just there, to treat normal patients. Why do you want to pay so much salary for 50 doctors? Even if you're paying 1 lakh per month, that is almost 50 lakhs per month. In a year, it is 6 crores. Replace them with robots, 10 of them. The patient will come, put the hand, testing, and you can take more money from the patient. Dekho, robotic testing. So instead of charging 100 rupees, you can charge 300 rupees also. So end of that, I feel medical field will become like that. Not because technological advancement, it saves money. And this is already happening in all the factories all over the world. Because if you hire machines, they will work 24/7. They don't do strikes. They don't ask for extra salary. They don't create problem. They don't get fever. They will work 24/7. So as a business person, that's what you'll think. You are least bothered about the patients. As a doctor, you will think about it. But the guy who is managing the hospital, he is least bothered about it. For him, patients are simply commodities. The customers. So I feel the world will go towards that side only. Maybe not next year, not 5 years, 20 years, 25 years. How do you know? Why all that 6 months back, anyone thought about Corona? Now see how nonsense it has become. You just go and sneeze outside now, people will run away from you. You don't wear a mask, people will shout on you. 6 months back, people just used to be so, unhygienic. People should do any nonsense. So basically, this is the thing about it. So we have solved the problem, of this decreasing the error by taking thin slices. So how to go about this thing? Now, again, I'm not going to show you the proofs for the formulas. We are not interested. We just want the formulas. So if you have a function y is equal to f of x, so we write this thing as integral y dx as integral f of x dx. Now, one thing I want you to remember, whenever you see this integral and you get confused, like what the hell is this? I'm telling you, it will happen. Getting it? See, remember this thing always. Whenever you learn something, there are two ways. One is a technical way of learning, which is actually there in the book. Second thing is a more, a layman terms. You should have an understanding what it means, right? So this is your base. This is your height. So basically finding area, na? And the integral meaning summation of all the small areas of rectangle. That's what it means actually. You see, the whole story of integration is that. Now, there's one particular thing about this integration. If you take an integral and differentiate, meaning you took a function, you integrated and then differentiated, meaning first you added them and then you separated them, you will get back the same function. Put it down. So if you have an integral and differentiated, you will get the function back. I'll show you what it means. So integration is easier than differentiation. We have less formulas, but applications are numerous. Tomorrow exam, we don't have integration. It's only up to differentiation. Last class, whatever I taught you till there. You'll be getting the test schedule. I already made it yesterday for PCB. So I'll send it in the maybe my afternoon. So you'll get virtual 1 month ka test schedule. Alright.
PCM and PCB tests would be different.
Now see, the thing is the physics paper will be common for everyone. Right now we are not differentiating it. Later on, maybe once some time passes, some 3-4 topics get over, then we'll have a separate mains test and a NEET test every month. So once in a month you're going to have it, but remaining days we'll have it topic wise test. Because as such, if you see, right, there's not big difference other than the type of pattern and the level of questions, but still you guys in the learning stage. So right now, let's not push it. Still, we have to do a lot of, right now, how many questions are writing? 25, na? Now, you will write 25 questions with negative marking first. Then 25 we will take it to 30. 32 we will take it to 40. So, gradually. Because once we take it right, we have seen this thing. It creates actually a lot of negative effects. You guys are not used to it. 3 or 4 might be able to handle it. All won't be able to handle it. It's better we take it slowly. Suddenly increase the dosage, you'll go mad. So we are quite careful in that part. Now, this comes with experience, since I'm teaching in Mumbai from 5-6 years, I've seen that. If you try to take the kids like this, they'll run away. They'll say like, what is it? It is better this thing. It takes time, but we can push it. So let's see the formulas here. No, but you guys are doing quite well. So far, so we are very satisfied. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but you guys are quite, taking it up. But you should become a little more stubborn. Huh? That's what I'm saying. Remember this thing. Especially when you're preparing for entrance, you have to be very stubborn. I'll tell you, stubborn means what? Let's say there are 150 questions are there. I had a student like that last 2 years back from Dadar. So he used to have a very different attitude. Huh? Let's say 50 questions when he got 45 questions right. He used to say, I know the topic well, so I'm happy about it. Let's say he got only 5 questions right. He used to say, oh shit, I got to learn new 45 questions which I don't know. That means next time I won't do the mistake. I'm happy about it. Because his logic was 45 questions which I got wrong. In this, even if one question comes in the final exam, I would have got it wrong. I'm so lucky I got to know about it before the exam. So this guy, right, no matter what nonsense happens, it is beneficial for you. You got more marks, good, you know the topic. You got less marks, good, you know that you don't know the topic. Now you can learn, na? Because see, who's going to give you a seat based on the Sunday ka test? They're going to give you the seat based on the final exam ka marks. Actually, that is the right way of attitude you should have. At least when I think about it, right, that is how we used to be. When I prepared or my friends prepared or my students prepared, all the toppers, when I look at them, right, this is one common thing they all had actually. Right? You ask them, what happened to this Sunday test? Sir, I did it bad, but next Sunday I'll show you. Next Sunday also went bad. So next Sunday I'll show you. Meaning these people actually try. They don't give up. So let's see the formula. The first one, integral x power n dx. This is given by x power n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus constant. Why this constant? This is called an indefinite integral. Meaning you didn't give any limits. You're not telling me you want area from where to where. Now, what is that constant? I'll tell you why it comes. Remember just now I told you, if you differentiate, see, look at this thing. You know what you're asking here? What should I differentiate here so that I will get this as my answer? Means you already know the answer x power n. Now you're asking what the question. What should I differentiate to get x power n as an answer? So if you differentiate this guy, see what you're going to get. X power n plus 1 by n plus 1 plus constant. This would be 1 by n plus 1 differential of x power n plus 1 plus differential of a constant. This would be 1 by n plus 1 x power n plus 1 minus 1 plus 0. This will go x power n. See, got the same function again. This is what I was saying. If you differentiate the answer, you should get the, if you differentiate answers, you should get the LHS. Now here, suppose if I give you limits x1 to x2. Don't worry about it. I'll give you 2-3 examples so you'll get an understanding. The meaning of this is find the area under the curve from x1 to x2. So this is written as x bar n plus 1 by n plus 1 from x1 to x2. The moment you write this thing, integration is over, okay? Integration is already over. That right side line meaning you're going to put the limits now. How do you put the limits? First put x2. What is the meaning of this? This is area up to x2. Put x1. What is the meaning of this? Area up to x1. Subtract them. You get area between them. So this is called definite integral. Definite meaning I know the area from where to where you're asking. Indefinite meaning I don't know. So I'll put a constant. That constant ka value will be given. You won't be able to calculate normally. Just put it down. I'll give you 2-3 examples and then you can ask me if you're still confused.
What's dx in the first one?
Dx. The base, huh?
Okay.
Remember, always the dx should be there. This thing has no meaning, huh? Integral xn has no meaning. Integral x power n dx has a meaning. Length into breadth, na? What is the meaning of integral length? You're not getting area. Clear? Put it on. Done. So let me show the example.
Sir, can you go back to the previous page?
Sir, I didn't understand why we added that constant in the indefinite integral.
Because see na, if you're saying I want area from, think this thing. When you differentiate it, constant ka differential is what? 0, na? So by adding a constant, right? It's like this thing, see. Meaning x square plus 3, x square plus 4, x square plus 5 all have same differential, na? So that means by adding a number, you're not changing anything. That means there are infinite answers, right? So that's why we add that constant. That's why we call it indefinite because we're not sure what it is. Okay. So example, if I say x square dx from 1 to 2, this thing is looking like x power n ka formula. Wait, I forgot one important thing. This formula is not valid when n is equal to -1. Write that thing. If you keep n is equal to -1, denominator you will get 0. Doesn't make sense. So this formula is not valid for n is equal to -1. That is 1 by x. For that we have a different formula, we'll see. So this would be x power 2 plus 1 by 2 plus 1, limits 1 to 2. This would be x cubed by 3, 1 to 2. That would be substitute 2 first, substitute 1, subtract them. That would be 8 minus 1 by 3 and 7 by 3. You know what you actually did? Here y is f of x square. Na? So this is a parabola, y is equal to x square. And you are asking the limits from 1 to 2, meaning this is 1. This is 2. You calculated this area, 7 by 3 that is. The meaning of this integral is there is a curve y is equal to x square. Find the area from 1 to 2. So that curve ke niche that red color shaded area is there. That is the area which you found out using this formula.
So if we're using integral, we have no errors.
No, if you use integral, meaning you got the perfect. Theoretically, it is right. There are no errors. Meaning dx become almost 0. The problem is theoretically there is no error, but practically when you try to do this thing, a computer will always generate an error. Limitations. Whereas theoretically there is no error. Now how this formula is derived, x power n plus 1 by n plus 1, we are not interested. We are not going to look at it. So this gives you the exact value. There is no error in this thing. Suppose if I do like this, root x dx, this would be x power r. See, the moment I write this thing, integration is completed. This is that line ka meaning is I'm going to put the limits now. That would be 1 to the power of 3 by 2 by 3 by 2 minus 0. So that is 2 by 3. What's the meaning of this? This is the curve y is equal to root x. You are asking the area from 0 to 1. That's a graphical representation of that integral.
And if the curve is downwards, would it be the same?
Area would be same, but you'll get a negative sign. We'll see. Copied. Next thing. Sin ax plus b. Now see, integration, we don't have chain rule. We don't have the division formula. This would be minus 1 by a cos ax plus b plus constant. How did I get this thing? If you differentiate this, see what you will get. What is cos ka differential? Minus, no? Minus sign. That's where the minus sign comes here. So if I differentiate this guy, I'll get minus 1 by a differential of cos ax plus b plus differential of a constant. This is cos of something. So that would give me minus 1 by a. Cos ka differential is minus sine ax plus b, and then differentiate whatever is inside, and differential of a constant is 0. This would be 1 by a sine ax plus b into a. A cancels. We'll get back sine ax plus b. So it's like again the same story. What should I differentiate so that I will get sine ax plus b as my answer? So here a and b are constants. So in a simple terms, if I just write sine x dx, this is minus cos x plus constant. Meaning a is 1 and b is 0, no? So integral sine x is minus cos x. This is what you have to be careful. Huh? What is differential of sine x? Plus cos x. Tha. Integral of sine x is minus cos x. So the formulas, there is a high chance, people get confused in these two things. You have to be very careful. In the beginning of my career, right, 2011, 10, that time. So once I was teaching this only. What happened in one class, I was teaching differentiation, another class I was teaching integration. Both the classes back to back. First class I taught different integration, second class I went to differentiation and taught them integration ka formulas only. After 10 minutes, I realized. So after that, I decided, when you're teaching differentiation anywhere, don't teach integration anywhere. Only one chapter at a time. Put down this. Yeah. I can't hear you. Your voice is breaking a lot. Just type a message in the chat. Turn the page. Copied. Now, same thing, meaning it's still not over. What if I keep limits? So sine ax plus b dx, limits from x1 to x2. Minus 1 by a cos ax plus b, limits x1 to x2. Put x2, so ax2 plus b. Put x1, ax1 plus b. That is a definite integral. If you have limits, so integrate as usual, remove that constant and put x2, x1 and subtract them. The minus 1 by a comes out. It's a constant. It's a common for both. Next thing. Clear, Dhruvi, so far? Third one. Integral na cos ka integral. So if you take the limits x1 to x2, so if you take a simpler one, integral cos x dx, this would be sin x. So this is, where a is 1 and b is 0. You get a simple cos ka integral. If you differentiate 1 by a sin ax plus b, you'll see you'll get cos ax plus b. Done. This is the third formula, cos ka. The fourth one, integral e power ax. Hope you remember what is e. E is just a number, 2.713, so on. It's an exponential. With limits, it's going to be and the last one 1 by ax plus b dx. So in this, the simpler version is 1 by x. A is 1 and b is 0. This is that x power 1 ka integral, okay? Remember n is equal to minus 1, we didn't take it. For that, this is a formula. Ln x. Because ln x ka differential is 1 by x. So ln x is nothing but log x to the base e. When someone says log x, means it's log x to the base 10. Don't worry too much about the logs, that we will be seeing later on. These are the 5 integrals. Everything within 11th and 12th will fall under these categories. We have two more identities. We'll see that. If you know that 5 formulas and 2 identities, 11th and 12th physics, you'll be able to handle any problems from JEE mains and NEET also. Put it down, copy it down. Next time, let's look at the two identities. Copied, everyone? Copy down, copy down fast. There are one or two people who didn't. Now the first identity. If you have a into f of x dx, a will come out. Example, let's say if you have something like 3x square dx or 3x power 4 dx from 0 to 1, 3 will come out. Now this is looking like x power n. So that will be x power 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 limit 0 to 1. That would be x power 5 by 5, 0 to 1. That would be 3, 1 power 5 by 5 minus 0 power 5 by 5. That is 0 only. So that will be 3 by 5. So if you have a constant into function, push the constant outside and integrate. So just like differentiation.
Sir, in the third step, that sign after 3, that's the integral sign, right?
Yeah.
No,
ये तो bracket है.
अच्छा.
Integration is over. Integration is over. The moment you get x power 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 1, integration is over. Then next one. Integral f of x plus or minus g of x dx. If you have two functions, then integral f of x dx, integral g of x dx. Let me take an example. Again, this is also similar to differentiation. The example, integral x square plus x dx. X square dx 0 to 1 plus integral x, I'll do one thing, let this be 1, okay. This should be x cubed by 3, 0 to 1. What is 1 here? This can be written as x power 0 now. So x power 0 plus 1 by 0 plus 1, 0 to 1. This will be 1 by 3 plus x ka limit 0 to 1. So I'll do one thing, let it be x cubed by 3 only for some time. That would be 1 cubed by 3 minus 0 cubed by 3 plus 1 minus 0. 1 by 3 plus 1 is 4 by 3. Done? Let's see some problems. So basically, these are the 5 formulas and 2 identities. Yeah, let's get this 7.
Sir, is that 5 by 0 or 5 by 6? The fifth problem.
Which one? This is 5 by 6. Note down all the questions. So I'm going to turn the page. So मिहिर कैम क्यों बंद कर रहे हो हर बार? Keep the cams on everyone.
सर मैंने आपको चैट में बोला.
क्या बोला? I didn't get anything. किसको भेज रहे हो? Send it to this.
होस्ट और कोस्ट.
Ghost. Me and my ghost both are teaching together. Let's see the first one. First one is easy. X bar 5 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 limits from 0 to 1. That would be x bar 6 by 6 from 0 to 1. 1 by 6. Hope all got the first one. See, some of you might have genuine problems with the network and all. I do understand. But then the problem is what? There are few people who take advantage of that and do time pass. So we have to be strict with everyone. So don't feel bad like, अरे sir ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं? But welcome to life. So that is how it is. Because you have seen, right? People take advantage. You know, when I give some leeway, people take advantage of that. So even the people who are having genuine problems, we have to suspect you. So let's see the second one. Zero to 4 this was. This is what? Integral x bar minus half dx. This is x bar minus half plus 1 by minus half plus 1. That would be root x by half. The 2 root x from 0 to 4. That would be root 4 minus root 0. That's 4. What's the third one? Third is exponent whole square dx from 0 to 1. You can expand this thing into x square plus 2x plus 1. This can be written as x square dx, 2x dx plus 1 dx. 1 is nothing but x bar 0. Huh? So this can be written as x cubed by 3, 0 to 1 This is 2 into x square by 2, 0 to 1, plus 1 into x, 0 to 1. Now then just calculate, that will be 1 by 3 plus 2 into half plus 1. That's 1 by 3 plus 1 plus 1, 7 by 3. This is the second and third. Have a look at it. Ask me if you're confused anywhere. The third one, you have to just expand a plus b whole square and then integrate each term. It's f of x plus g of x. Someone said something? Have a look at the second and third. If you're confused anywhere, do ask me. Then fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. All are clear with second and third? Fourth one, see.
Sir,
Yeah.
in the second one, I took the entire x plus 1 as one term, and then I did it by that x raised to n wala thing.
Don't do that. It will work here. Luckily, it works here. It doesn't work
didn't
anywhere else.
It didn't work. I got 1 upon 3.
Don't use it only, na? Let it be. Why to get the wrong one working up? You had to write x plus 1 whole cube by 3, na? So x plus 1, when you keep 1, they'll get 1 plus 1 whole cube. So that is 2 cube by 3, 8 by 3 minus 1 by 3. You'll get it, but it's still wrong. It works for this thing.
Even if we have something like x plus 1 whole raised to 10, we'll have to expand it.
Yeah, normally you have to expand it. But there is another method called integration by substitution. We don't require it. When something like that comes, I'll teach you. Don't worry. Right now we will see. This is minus half cos 2x. That's cos 90 minus cos 0. You got an half. You know what you did actually here? This is pi. This is pi by 2. This is pi by 4. You found out this area. So sine 2x graph will look like this. How will sine graph look like? You know, sine and sine x, now the difference is this. Let me draw both of them on the same line so you'll understand. This is sine 2x. This is sine x. Because you know, when x is pi, sine 2x becomes 2 pi now already. Basically, it got shrunk by half. It got compressed by half. That is the difference between sin x and sin 2x graph. This point here is 90 degree, 45. No, that's 90 actually. This is pi. That is how sin x and sin 2x look like. It's okay, graph. It's not that thing. Just I'm showing you graphically what it means. So you're finding area under the curve sin 2x from 0 to pi by 4. The next one, cos 6 we get sin x limit 0 to pi sin 2 pi minus sin 0. 2 pi is nothing but 360 degrees, which is actually 0. Why are you getting 0 here? The reason, this is a cos x graph. Now see the reason I'll tell you. This area above the x-axis, this is positive area. This below is the negative area. Why negative and positive? See, above the x-axis, y coordinate is positive. Na? What is area? Y into delta x. So above the x-axis, the area is positive. And the area below, the y coordinate is negative. So you're multiplying by a negative number. So it's a negative area. So when you add the total area, positive and negative, you see both are equal in magnitude. That's why we are getting 0. So area above the x-axis is positive area because y coordinate is positive. Area below the x-axis is negative area because y coordinate is negative. You're simply multiplying y into delta x. Na? Delta x is positive, but if y is negative, the area also will become negative. What is the significance of negative area? We will see that later on. But that's the reason why you're getting a 0. Then cos 3x. Pi by 6 to pi by 3. So if you see, this is 1 by 3, 0 minus 1, minus 1 by 3. This guy, if you try to draw it on a graph, this was pi by 6. This was pi by 3. This area you're finding, that's why you're getting a negative area. Clear with this? What's the next one? E power 2x. Before that, let me show you this one. E power x dx. Suppose if I give like this, you know what is this? E power 1 minus e power 0. So that is e power 1 minus 1. This is the graph of e power x ray. And you're asking the area from 1, 0 to 1. I'm just showing you graphs also parallelly how they look like. This is a graph of y is equal to e power x. In our question, it is given e power 3x, 2x. This would be half of e power 2x only from 0 to 1. Now see, e power 0 is not 0, it is 1. So it is e power 2 minus e power 0. E square minus 1 by 2. That's your answer. Most common mistake what people do, e power 0, they write it as 0. So be careful about that part. Now you might be thinking like, okay, fine, now we learned a few formulas and stuff, so how to use it. Put it down. Any page you want particular, ask me, I'll just show it to you. You can copy it down. That will teach you 1 or 2 more problems. All copied? Now see, practically how will the problem be? They'll say there is a body here, f is equal to x square. Or let's say f is equal to x. They'll ask you to find the work done. Find work done when it moves from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 2. Okay, so remember work done ka formula? F into x na displacement. But here we will change it now. It is f into s. This is small displacement. Why do we need to do these things? Because force is not constant. Are you getting it? If force is constant, it will come out of the integral. Then you will get the general formula is this. If f is constant, then the work done will be f into integral ds, which is f into displacement only. This is what you learned in school, force into displacement. That is because f is used to be constant every time. But if f is not constant, the formula is actually integral f dx. So what is the work done? Integral f dx. F is x only. You want from where to where? You want from initial value to final value. That is the meaning of it. So this would be x square by 2 limits 0 to by 2. This will be 2 square by 2. That is 2 joules. This is the interpretation of it. So the formulas will change now everywhere. Work done is not actually F into S, it is actually integral Fs. Only when force is constant, it will come out to the integral. You get the formula force into displacement. So if you want to use the formula work done is force into displacement, remember, you can use it only if you are sure force is constant. If force is not constant, you don't use that.
So
No,
I didn't
for-
understand that part.
What?
The F is constant, so how did you get
If
X?
this thing read if F is constant, F is not constant. If F is constant, it will come out of the integral. Na? Remember first identity. Agreed? Or maybe you are getting confused with the X, write dx. Better?
But then on the left side, how did you substitute F and F into X?
Where? Here.
Yeah.
It is given, Ray.
Okay.
Given in the question, na? Question where it is given force is equal to X. It has to be given, or else you can't substitute. Okay? Now here, you know what I did actually? If I just show it in the previous way, the way I did integration, I'll tell you what I'm doing here. The idea here is every time the force is changing now, so you know what I'm doing. Let's say when it is here, X is equal to 1, I will assume delta X is 0 point, like this. It is so small. So I'll assume it has moved such a small distance, huh? Very small distance. So what is the small work done? At this point, what is the force? 1, no? Because X is equal to 1. Are you getting? At this instant, force is 1 because X is equal to 1. So work done at this instant will be 1 into displacement. How much? 0.00001. Whatever is that. Now, it has come little forward now. Now, what is X? 1 plus delta X. So, what is the force? 1 plus delta X. Again, what is the work done? Force into displacement, which is 1 plus 0.00001 into again 0.0001. You're getting what you're doing? Next moment, what will you do? Next, we'll say 1 plus 2 times of 0.001. No? You're getting what you're doing? Every time you're increasing the force by small amount, multiplying by delta X. Small amount multiplying by delta X. That's what you did in integration, isn't it? Area of a small rectangles. Here we are saying small work done. This page is not important, just to show you what is happening. So we'll be doing problems like this next class. So if you see applications are like this. So in the entire integration, you need to know the 5 formulas and the 2 entities. If you know that much, we'll be able to handle most of the part. You guys finished it little early actually. For all others, it took till the proper time. But any particular part you didn't understand or anything you're confused, ask me. Or any page you want to see. But if you're done, I think we are done with the class for today's class. Any doubts you can ask, or else you're free to leave. So next class when we meet, we will continue with this thing. We'll do more problems and we'll see some applications. Yeah, you can disconnect if you have no doubts. If you have something, you please ask.
Sir, can you explain this one again?
Next class again we'll do it. Don't worry.
Okay.
There is actually nothing there because it is given force is equal to X. It's a question, right? Where are you getting confused? Tell me, but still.
Actually, I didn't listen it because my brother was around.
This thing, there is a block on the floor where the force is equal to X, meaning X is X coordinate. The more you travel, more force you get. Initially, X0 by force 0. X is equal to 1, force is 1. X is equal to 10, force is 10. Force is increasing like that. Okay. So the question is, what is work done by the force when you go from 0 to 2? Clear? Now problem is what from 0 to 2 force is changing now. Now, if something is changing, remember we have to integrate. So what will be the work done ka formula? Work done will be integral f dx. This is nothing to do with the question. This is in general I'm teaching you. Work done is integral f dx. If f is constant, f will come out of the integral. The first identity. And the formula would have become force into displacement. This is what was taught in school. Force into displacement is work. But this was for what? When force is constant. Got it? If force is not constant, what should you use? Integral f dx. Are you getting the formula? Work done is f into x only. But if f is constant, it is f into x. If f is not constant, it is integral f into x. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but what is f? F is given, f is equal to x only. So substitute f is equal to x. What are the limits? 0 to 2. Why? You said from 0 to 2, na? So initial to final. Then you know how to integrate x dx. X power 1, na? X square by 2. Put 2 and 0, 2 joules. That's what we did.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Others got something? Sneha?
Sir, could you please send the recording? My connectivity issue was there, so I could not hear half of the link.
Okay, I will be uploading on YouTube anyway. You can have a look at it.
Okay, thank you. Bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Take care.